WTIM mobile app and Amazon Alexa is your ag information station with over 8 hours a day of agriculture programming and our own local farm broadcaster. Tune in to WTIM, your ag information station.
WTIM.
And this is the WTIM morning show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm Reed Kamai. My next guest this morning, we've got Andrew Holsinger, a horticulture educator at the University of Illinois Extension, and we'll be talking more things, flowers and all of that in this next segment. Andrew joins me over the phone. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, good to have you on this. Well, it's we're I think we're trying to work towards warmer weather here, and that would certainly bode well, of course, for planting, which is what we're going to be talking about. So, I'm sure people are thinking soon about getting their flowers, or maybe they've got them already. You have some tips as far as cutting the flowers. What can you share with us this morning?
Yeah, whenever you're going to have your floral bouquet that you may be sharing with others, Valentine's Day is just a couple days away. You're going to want to recut those stems an inch or two from where they've been cut previously at a 45-degree angle with a sharp knife or scissors, and that helps to keep the flow of water going through the flowers. And being able to uptake that water and keep those flowers lasting as long as possible.
45-degree angle. I'd actually never really thought of that, but there's a there's I guess your reason to do that. You suggest doing the harvest early in the morning, and why is that?
Well, if you're getting fresh flowers, throughout the season, the morning time is when the flowers are going to be the most turgid, or have the most fully hydrated flowers. And with your cut flowers that you get from the store, it's also advised to try and cut those stems underwater, so that way it doesn't disrupt the flow of the water throughout the vascular system of the flower.
So cutting them underwater. So, to do that, would you have to fill a sink and then cut it in, or how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. You can fill a sink and carefully cut them under the water. And another thing you're looking to do is to keep the leaves out of the water. So you're going to want to remove the leaves that would be below the water line in the vase. And you're going to keep your water temperature about probably room temperature, but the cooler you can get it without being too cold, it will keep them lasting the longest.
So you need the cool water, and then of course cutting it underwater there and keeping the leaves out of it. Sounds like a challenge, but that I suppose is the way to do that. Anything else you wanted to mention about cutting flowers and how to do it best?
Well, there's some flowers that take some special consideration whenever it comes to cutting the flowers. Maybe some of them might have a milky sap, so be aware that some that may have a latex allergy, some flower materials might have that latex, because that's where latex comes from, is from some plants that have that milky sap. So just be considerate of whenever you're putting your flower materials together, that you put it in a nice arrangement, and look for the shelf life to last as long as you can.
So those are some tips there about cutting flowers. Now, I'm sure most of us who have flowers, right, we want to keep them in our vases and doing well for as long as possible. What tips do you have to keep the flowers in a good condition to last as long as possible in the vase?
Well, the quality of the water is very important whenever you're keeping your flowers. So you might not think about it immediately, but that water is going to need to eventually be changed. And so every few days you're going to be changing the water. But before you change the water, or when you first put the flowers in the vase, they have some commercial floral preservatives. And that helps to keep the water clean by avoiding the bacteria that can grow in the water. And it also has some food sources for the flowers, and so it keeps them fed. It also has an acidity to reduce that bacteria, and so keeping that in the floral water is going to help to keep that water clean and feed those blooms and keeping it lasting as long as possible. But you want to probably avoid the home additives. There are some home recipes that you could put together, but it's pretty readily accessible for these commercial floral preservatives. They have packets usually whenever you go to purchase your flowers. They'll either be included in the packaging of the flowers, or they'll have some there at the counter that you can pick up and put to use.
Yeah, so using those commercial floral preservatives, and then you also said avoiding home additives. So if you don't have if you're not able to get a hold of preservatives, would you just use like plain water then?
Yeah, clean water alone is acceptable. There are some a few things you could do, like a couple tablespoons of lemon juice or vinegar. That's going to make it more acidic. Just a little bit of bleach, like maybe a half teaspoon of bleach, not very much. Too much bleach can be detrimental to the stems. So you can also scale that down for smaller arrangements, but you want to just be sure to keep the water as clean as possible. And you can also do some recutting of the stems as time goes on, and that's going to help to keep that water flowing throughout the time of those flowers in your vase.
So, let's say I have to use clean water, or even if I also use the preservatives, how often would I want to like maybe switch it out, like pour it out, get a nice, clean a batch of water to put it in? How often would I change that?
About every 1 to 2 days. You're going to be changing the water frequently, and I notice at home the water also gets used up by the flowers, and so that water level drops. And if it drops too low, then some of your flowers can start to die back. So you want to make sure you keep your vase filled as much as possible, and keep it in a cool location as well. You want to avoid direct sunlight, keep it away from your heat registers, remove those faded flowers as promptly as possible.
Yeah, so some tips there for just keeping the plants looking good and feeling good for as long as possible there. Any other tips before we go on to onto something else?
Well, some of the flowers you can, when you're shopping, you look at the stage of the flower, as far as, is it more in the bud stage where it's closed, or is it fully open? Some of that can also indicate maybe the lifespan that you're going to have whenever you're purchasing these flowers. That how long are they going to last? And just proper care is going to keep them lasting as long as possible. And transporting them, if we have cold temperatures, you want it to be cool, but you don't want to have detrimental freezing temperatures to your arrangement. But we do have warmer temperatures on the way, and we should probably have a nice time for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and a good balance, it sounds like, for getting those flowers home. I'll tell you what, why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about those fresh flower arrangements. And we're having that conversation with Andrew Holsinger, the horticulture educator at the University of Illinois Extension. Let's, like I said, take a break. We'll come back right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
Markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat higher at this hour. March corn up 1 1/4, 4.28 3/4. May corn up 2 pennies, 4.38 1/2. December new crop 4.61 1/4, up 1 1/2. March beans up 13, 11.37. May beans 11.52, up 12 1/2. And November new crop 11.14 3/4, up 4 1/4. March Chicago wheat 5.40 1/4, up 3. March KC wheat 5.41 1/4, up 2 3/4. March bean meal 307.90, up 4.90. March bean oil up 55 cents, 57.60. Livestock trade March feeders 366.45, down $1. February live cattle up a dime, 242.60. February lean hogs down 7 cents, 86.82. Energy market March crude oil down 55 cents, 64.08. This is the RFD Radio Network.
Hey, Taylorville, Pana, and Shelbyville, Sparklight says listen up for these great internet offers. Right now, take advantage of plans starting as low as $29.95 a month. Sparklight provides you with local, reliable internet on their fiber-fueled network. All of Sparklight's internet plans have unlimited data with no any contracts or commitments. Sparklight is local with local offices and offers 24/7 U.S.-based tech support. And with Sparklight Internet, get whole home Wi-Fi. Get connected with Sparklight in-store, online, or by phone.
Looking to save more and stress less? This is Will Perkins. At Taylorville Community Credit Union, we're here to help you build a stronger financial future with great loan and deposit rates, convenient locations, and service from people you know and trust. We're member-owned, member-focused, and proud to serve anyone who lives or works in Christian, Montgomery, or Shelby counties. Discover the credit union difference. TCCU is your partner in financial success. Member NCUA. Hello, I'm Will Perkins, the new owner of Taylorville Home Source. I'm committed to continuing the local service you've always counted on, along with the same great flooring options, kitchen cabinets, shower systems, and design expertise that Taylorville Home Source is known for. Stop by 1316 East Park, online at TaylorvilleHomesource.com, or via phone at 217-824-6121. Taylorville Home Source, your one source local design center.
CTI is the only internet company that offers no data caps and limitless data for limitless possibilities. They're your local internet provider. Sign up by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM AM, FM, and online on the WTIM mobile app and Amazon Alexa is your ag information station with over 8 hours a day of agriculture programming and our own local farm broadcaster. Tune into WTIM, your ag information station.
WTIM.
And we're back on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and I continue my conversation with Andrew Holsinger, a horticulture educator at the University of Illinois Extension. And this conversation comes, at least on its original airing, 2 days before Valentine's Day. So maybe you're thinking about giving some flowers or even a floral arrangement. And in terms of what kinds of flowers one might select, Andrew, what are some tips you have for selecting long-lasting flowers?
Well, carnations are usually some of the longer-lasting flowers that we find on Valentine's Day. Now, the price does tend to go up here around Valentine's Day because of the essence of having those available and what have you. But there's quite a few flowers that you can use, and roses definitely last at least a week in the vase. But as we said before, maximizing their vase life is what you're looking to do. So just to re-emphasize on that proper care, you're going to put them in a cool, bright spot, but away from the direct sun or any heat sources. So look out for those heat registers. You want to avoid having your flowers by that. You also want to think about if these are in the kitchen area, where mine tend to be, fruits. Like if you have the bananas out on the counter, that can be detrimental because of the ethylene that's produced by some of your fruits. You're going to want to Change that water every at least 2 to 3 days. You'll notice that it'll become cloudy. You will want to continue to add your floral preservative to that water. Remove any of your yellowing leaves or wilting flowers. Those can be potential for bacteria to spread, and that's also why we remove the leaves from the water before we put the flowers into the vase.
So some tips there on how to maintain the vase, and then you suggest combining different kinds of flowers to kind of balance the arrangement. Talk a little more about that.
Yeah, the flowers that you're going to be using, you're going to think about the size of the vase that you're using. The vase or container that you use, you want to make sure that you start out with a clean, pretty well sanitized vase. You want your flowers to be about 1.5 times the height of the vase. And so thinking about the scale and the proportion, when you're doing an arrangement, you're going to focus on that. You're going to have your main flowers that you're going to put into the arrangement, and then you'll have some filler flowers and foliage that you may put in around that. But there's different ways of doing arrangements. So you can have floral foam that can be used. That floral foam is putting it into a basin of water and allowed the water to evenly distribute throughout that floral foam, and then it's put into the container. And so you're not, one tip is not to just try to submerge the floral foam, just set it on the top and let it absorb that water. Sometimes there's some mechanics that are involved in securing flowers. So you may use tape to secure that floral foam, or across the top of the vase, clear tape can be added, floral tape. So using that mechanics, it is somewhat hidden, but you shouldn't be ashamed of using some of these techniques. That's what the professionals use a lot of the times, is floral foam to keep that amount of moisture there for the flowers, and also aid in the arranging of the flowers to the way that they're placed.
So floral foam, I'm trying to visualize this. So do you put in the foam like at the top, and you're saying the foam absorbs the water?
So the foam is put inside a container after it's been put in a separate container that absorbs that has water that the floral foam absorbs. So it's like putting a sponge in the bottom of the container that holds water, but it's more of a finer material than like a traditional sponge, and it has the ability to have those stems inserted into it, and then you don't want to be reinserting the stems. Once you put those into the floral foam, then they're where they should be. So think about how much you've cut and the mechanics of placing those flowers into the vase or the foam. You don't want to overly handle the stems, and you just want to insert those to prevent the damage to the end of the stem that you've just cut. You want to just do it once and have the best success.
So that's how to work with the floral foam there. And then I think you mentioned tape earlier. Is that like just part of getting the flowers positioned, or the plants in the right place? What's that for?
So there's a clear florist tape, and
Okay.
that can be used. Sometimes that floral foam doesn't want to stay in position, so you can use that to help secure the floral foam from moving around. We tend to have to move flowers, and especially when you're working with them, to change the water or add water to it. And you also may find that whenever you're at the top of the vase, there'll be like a cross section of kind of like the tic-tac-toe board of putting the tape across the top of the vase to help position the flowers that you've put into the vase.
Yeah, so a lot of tips there from Andrew Holsinger, a horticulture educator at the University of Illinois Extension on flowers, flower arrangements, vases, all of that ahead of Valentine's Day. Andrew, thanks again for coming on.
Hey, no problem.
And thank you for listening to the WTIM morning show today. Of course, every day at 8:40 right here on WTIM. Have a great day.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville.